George, let's start with Henry Trinder, first of all, because his departure was announced yesterday and a massive contribution he's made to the club.
Yeah, Henry's been a great servant to the club. Obviously, I've only known him my sort of period here, but pre that, everyone knows Henry across the league. When he was flying, he did some unbelievable things. So, obviously had a bit of bad luck with injuries, but he's contributed massively around the place. He's a loved character around here, and I think everyone wishes him really well, and hopefully some success in France.
And I guess it wouldn't have happened too often in your career, but you'd have played against him. And he was one of those people that you wouldn't have wanted to be sort of isolated in an outside channel against as a forward.
I certainly wouldn't want to be isolated in an outside channel against Henry, or on a short channel either. No, he would have found his way around me easy enough. So, yeah, as I say, when some of those clips that have gone up online since he's been announced as leaving, I don't think there's anyone going to make those tackles on him. So, hopefully he can get over to France and find a bit of that form, and, like I say, enjoy hopefully a good few years over there.
And it's been a couple of weeks since the match against La Rochelle. How much have you been able to get a break into the players or a bit of extra work? What have you done in the last week or so?
Well, we gave the players the week off, so they had an opportunity to recharge. It's been a pretty intense campaign, or two campaigns, sort of blended together. So from our point of view, obviously we haven't had games called off for COVID or anything like that. So it was an opportunity just to have a week off, refresh. They went away with their training plans to stay on top of that, and just gave the coaches and staff an opportunity to have a little bit of time off, but also reflect, see where we're at, and just look how we push on.
And what sort of discoveries have you made from that sort of thinking time that you've been able to give yourself in terms of what needs to be done, where the bar's been set? Because I guess La Rochelle, in a way, kind of showed where they are right at the top of the French league.
Yeah, I think the La Rochelle game was a great game for us to be a part of. Obviously, we wanted to win, and I actually thought we could have put ourselves in the position to win. We probably. We talked about we probably weren't accurate enough at the back end of the game in a couple of areas, and there was a couple of shots we got an opportunity to fire, and again our accuracy just was a little bit off, and in games like that against teams who are as good as La Rochelle, they take advantage of that. And but I thought our fight and our work rate, and when we did make a mistake, how quickly and hard we worked to get ourselves back in the game, I thought was brilliant. And I thought the halfbacks managed the game really well. The centres as well, actually, and I thought it was a good game for us. I thought they had 3 or 4 moments of what they can do, which is world class, and make those line breaks, and we saw that again against Sale. And away from that, I thought it was a very tight game. So we were just disappointed as a group. We didn't finish off a couple of opportunities, and they got a couple of steals at the breakdown late in the game that killed our momentum, which we knew would come at some point. But it was a good. It was a good, honest reflection of us. I think that we're fighting hard, but we'd like to be a little bit more accurate.
And also, how much of La Rochelle kind of given you some information on how Sale can be exploited?
I mean, it's difficult from that point of view, because I think La Rochelle are a very special team at the moment, and I think they've got some strengths, and they're very hard to stop when they're in that sort of form. So we saw it probably 3 times in our game where all the will in the world, we'd prepared for everything, and they just got a couple of guys who can open you up. So, and they did that a couple more times against Sale. So I don't think it was necessarily a Sale's weakness as such. I think it was more La Rochelle's class and what they can do. So, we're obviously studied Sale hard. We'd done it pre this game anyway, building it. We knew it was our next Prem game, but yeah, I mean, La Rochelle have their way of playing, and it's hard to mimic some of their players, the way they broke them down. But yeah, there's a couple of opportunities we think present themselves, but obviously I'll keep those under our hat till the weekend.
And what do you make of Sale? Because obviously they've got that strong South African influence running through the side, but they've also got some very talented non-South Africans as well.
Yeah, I think they've got a really good squad. I think they they only just missed out on the playoffs last year. They've got a good squad there, very physical, tough, work hard sort of mentality. And I think obviously Sanderson's come in and pushed them on even more. So, they're third in the league for a reason. They are physical. They are smart in how they play. I think they use their strengths well. Marlon Yard is flying out wide, and all the boys on the wing, to be fair. So I just think they're a smart rugby team, but they're resilient, they're tough, and they stick together. So I don't think what happened in La Rochelle is necessarily a reflection of where they're at. I think I think they'd probably do a few bits differently, just like we would when we played them. So yeah, they're a tough outfit for sure.
And Gloucester have been improving of late in the Premiership. How much can you sort of look to carry that on into Sale? Because obviously, it's the sort of test every week, but do you set yourself mini targets for the rest of the season in terms of trying to climb a few more places in the table?
I mean, yeah, we've had a good discussion as a team yesterday on what we'd like to get out the rest of the season. And obviously, as a coaching group, we know what we'd like to see and who we'd like to see out there and how we want to see it develop. So they're very internal, those goals at the moment. They're sort of small bits that we can measure ourselves internally on, rather than, shouting from the rooftops, we want to do this or we want to do that. We're very focused on the bits and pieces. But I still think the growth for us is as we say, a little bit more accuracy in those key moments, and just finishing off some of the opportunities which we've started creating the last few weeks.
Injuries, how's the squad this weekend? I mean, the chief one, which sort of hit you just before La Rochelle, was Lewis Rees-Zammit, his hamstring. How's that for starters?
Yeah, he's been training yesterday and today. So obviously, it's with guys that finely tuned, there's always risk factor, if you like, and Zam wasn't bad before the game, but it was bad enough that I thought the right thing to do was to keep him out and keep him fit. So the racehorses, they're wired a certain way, and that's why they're so good when they're good. And Zam's obviously been outstanding the last few months, and just felt it was the right thing to do to get him out of the game. So he's trained the last couple of days. He was in with the physios last week, and he's available for selection.
And any others coming back? I mean, you're going to have players coming back from suspension as well as injury, presumably at some point.
Yeah, well, Ollie Thorley's obviously available now on the back of his suspension. We've got a couple of other lads who are training. I think I said 2 weeks ago, we're sort of on the brink of 3 or 4 lads returning to the squad, which is really exciting. We've got to take them through their sort of steps these couple of days, and then it's sort of week by week decisions when we think someone's ready. And it's made trickier, no doubt, this season, because there's no A-League games, no cup games, there's no sort of opportunities to drip boys back in. When they're fit, you've either got to select them or not, which presents different challenges. You've got to train a certain way to get them sort of battle hardened. So, but no, the next couple of weeks should hopefully be exciting with a few boys coming back.
And finally, George, you say, all right, there's no cup games there, but you do have the option of sending players out on dual registration into the Championship. Is that something that you'd consider to sort of get any of the more long-termers back fit if they've got a chance of returning in the next couple of months?
Oh, without a doubt. I'd love all our boys to be playing every week, to be honest with you. And we've got a few guys at Hartbury who've been playing for them. I just think the reality is the Championship is obviously a shorter competition than it would normally be, and they can only borrow so many players, and every Prem club is probably in the same position as us, where they've got a handful of guys they'd love to see playing. So hopefully we'll get some games into club and that sort of thing as the season goes on, and we can hopefully organise some bits and pieces amongst ourselves. But that's it's a unique season like that, as I've said before, where it's not as easy to get everybody game time as you'd like.